All right, welcome to the Monster Sanctuary Tournament Circuit, third place final. I'm going to be FlowingJuffowup, and with me,
I am Daryl.
yeah, and we have a matchup between Rolangizmo and Sphinx. We've got Bleed versus Shared Regen Aggro, I would say.
Yep. So we see probably standard leads from both teams. Grummy Grulu Lion is the heart of the regen team. Their plan is to get a lot of combo. Grummy and Grulu both apply a lot of combo, and apply regen to Lion, who uses both combo and buffs well. Sphinx getting the second turn here is quite bad for him. He really wants to go first, and taking a reasonable amount of bleed and 2 stacks of chill onto his Lion. Going to counter it with an Acid Hurricane to build up some decent combo.
Yeah, you can see the proliferate procs going off on Rolangizmo's team here, just one after another, never ending almost.
Incredible Firestorm. Alright, that was an incredible Solar Rays. And here we see the Shred. Pretty good damage, misses a couple of the crits, but able to bring Rolangizmo's entire team pretty low. Sphinx has to win this matchup fast because he has no way to remove these bleed stacks, which means they're going to continue to be more and more and more damage.
Yeah, with the Age of Purification on Grummy is going to remove 3 from each monster every turn, assuming they're aging, but that's just not going to keep up. You can see just how tanky Rolangizmo's team is here. Like they're really just shrugging off these hits that can take out a lot of monsters very easily.
Yeah, especially you see 5 stacks of armor break on Vodanoy, and it still took that Shred very well.
Yeah, and Thornish is looking extremely healthy right now.
Yeah. We do see the potions coming out. Rolangizmo doesn't have a traditional healer on his team, at least in the first 3, but making great use of those potions, healing up his team that way.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the go-to form of healing on this team, especially when he has Mole Bear out, but even without Mole Bear, it's still fairly reliable.
Yeah. Sphinx looking for the kill, able to get through the block on Aqua and take it out. That's a good start. Rolangizmo brings in Nightwing, who has very, very strong dodge, but is quite fragile. We do see Vodanoy protecting it, so that'll save it from 1 attack. And a massive Typhoon cut, really hurting that Lion. And yeah, the bleed does take it out.
Really adding up. Now we've got Cat Zerker entering into the match. It's able to put out a lot of offensive pressure, but it is very fragile.
Yeah. Sphinx once again gets rid of the block onto Nightwing, goes for Thornish, but Vodanoy actually tanks it. The ultimate does take out Vodanoy, so that's another monster down. Protect going onto that Nightwing.
Now we're going to see a lot of barriers getting spread around by Mole Bear. It's kind of its specialty.
And here's the beating, getting some decent damage, and the bleed really digging into Cat Zerker. One advantage for Sphinx here is regeneration does trigger before the damage from bleed, so he at least has that going for him.
Yeah, that's going to keep some of his monsters around more turns than they would survive normally.
Sphinx able to get rid of Roland's Protect users, but going for the Thornish, trying to take that out. Almost does. And Thornish forced to use an ultimate and a potion on Thornish to protect himself. But that beating is getting up to a lot of damage. Just barely doesn't take out the Cat Zerker.
Yeah, you can see how much Rolangizmo values his Thornish there, spending almost an entire turn keeping it healthy here.
Yeah, in addition to being one of the important protectors of this team, it deals damage whenever it's hit, both in different passes and applying bleed stacks. So having him keep the Thornish alive as long as possible increases the damage he deals to Sphinx's team. We see here him protecting his Nightwing, and the Nightwing gets another attack off. Big hit, takes down
Grulu is down.
Grulu, and the bleed takes out Cat Zerker. We see double splatter coming out, applying a lot of bleed stacks whenever a monster goes down.
Yeah. Now Rolangizmo has a 1 monster advantage, which puts him in the driver's seat here.
Yeah.
Going into infinity stacks.
Sphinx has a turn here where he's the one person with the infinity stacks, which is good. But with 52 bleed stacks on Grummy, he might lose it next turn. And Thornish Taunt blocks the attack onto Nightwing. Spark Shower is one of the best attacks for dealing with Nightwing because it can't be dodged, but unfortunately it can be blocked.
And I'm going to assume here that Rolangizmo is going to try and take out that Graphonics to stop any revive shenanigans from going on and prolonging this game.
We do see the beating, and the bleed knocks it down to its Phoenix with an 8,000 damage bleed onto Grummy, but doesn't knock it out. Unfortunately, with Grulu and Lion down, those were the monsters getting the Age stacks, so Age of Purity is significantly slower. Tackle coming out, gets taunted by Thornish, but breaks the taunt, and Spark Shower is able to take out Nightwing. That's great.
So now we're at 3 monsters to 3. But Setsune is definitely one of the strongest members of Rolangizmo's team here.
Yeah, and crucially, he was able to save a bleed-out monster for the very end, not giving Sphinx any time where the bleed stacks would naturally deplete like they usually do. And Rolangizmo clearly values that Setsune, protecting, trying to keep it healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to break through that protect and all the buffs that are on it right now.
Oh, especially with the bleed
monsters,
taking out Griffinix. Sphinx is going to continue to fight this out. Acid Rain does good damage to Molebear, and we do see the tackle
not quite enough.
Almost taking out. The dot damage does barely finish off the Molebear, but Setsune does have revive. So I'm expecting we'll see that here. No, goes for the fiery stabs.
Well, yeah, I guess...
and getting punished for it. Bleed, not enough to take out Grummy.
Little greedy on that turn.
Applying poison to Setsune, able to deal some reasonable damage, but Sphinx is still on a timer here. He still has
71 bleed stacks on Grummy right now.
And now we see the revive. Roland considering his Molebear's turn. I think we're probably going to see a potion here. Yes, we do. Healing up that Molebear, and once again, Grummy survives the bleed. Goes for the Acid Rain, able to shed some buffs. Can Vazuki take out Setsune? No! Taunt! Keeping it alive once again.
Yeah, we really see the value of having 7 stacks of regen on that Grummy.
Absolutely. We see Molebear firing off an ultimate here, building up some combo, and hopefully the fiery stabs finally does take down Grummy. So,
and that pretty much wraps this game
Vazuki,
up here.
that is probably the game. Dot damage doing quite a bit, but Rolangizmo's team has plenty of healing, and he can basically just sit back, keep his team alive, and the bleed stacks will take out Vazuki for him. Yes, they do. Game 2. This is very good for Sphinx, though. We see the same leads from both teams, but Sphinx gets first turn here, and that helps his team a lot, because Grummy and Grulu can both build quite a bit of combo on the first turn, to the point where Lion can probably threaten a kill.
Yeah, getting the first turn on Sphinx's team is just very, very important.
Yeah, we do see a Solar Burst coming out, lots of debuffs, lots of Proliferate procs, and Lion, considering what attack he wants to use, doesn't look like he has any kills here, but Ooh, unlucky with those claws, not getting the crits he needs.
Even with 4 armor break stacks there, that Vodnoy is over half health after that attack.
Yeah, absolutely massive defense. So, Thornish healing up and buffing Auklet. Seems like he's not that scared of losing the Vodnoy. We see the Aqua Blast from Auklet. Reasonable damage, but 5 stacks of regeneration, keeping Lion healthy. Sphinx fires off the Acid Hurricane. Reasonable combo. Another Solar Burst from Grulu. Getting all those debuff stacks. Let's see if Lion can finish them off.
Yeah, should be a knockout on Vodnoy with some decent crit rolls here, but you never know what you get.
Does go for the Shred and does not get decent crit rolls.
No.
Thornish setting up some buffs. And Vodnoy now can take the opportunity to heal himself as Auklet tries to take out that Lion. Again, bringing it quite low, and again, the regeneration stacks heal it up. But those bleed stacks are getting dangerous fast.
Yeah, almost at 40 after only 2 attacks.
Yeah. Breaking the full protect makes me think that he's probably going to try and target down Auklet, but even after that, doesn't have great damage ranges, so goes for the Vodnoy with all these stacks of bleed, almost able to take it out, but it stands another turn.
Yes, it is a very, very beefy monster. You can see how many attacks it's just eating and shrugging off here.
And more importantly, it has fish scales, or Thornish has fish scales, which means every time it takes an attack, it applies bleed to the attacker based on the damage it took. So it's been taking lots of damage, which means Sphinx's team is also taking lots of damage. We see the Acid Rain blocked by Thornish, trying to weaken that Auklet so that Lion can take it out. Ooh, that was a pretty good
A lot of buffs
hit.
getting cleansed there.
And the Fire Claws. Sphinx finally does get some luck with the Lion attacks. Good crits, takes out the Auklet. Rolangizmo brings in his second DPS, which is Nightwing. And let's see what he can make do with it here. Once again, setting up the full protect. And we see a Typhoon cut from the Nightwing. Lots of stacks of bleed, and does take out the Lion. Sphinx choosing to go into Vazuki here, which is interesting. Leading off with the Hades, going to apply quite a bit of debuff stacks, but that means he needs to use another monster to actually get some damage down.
Yeah, it's interesting that he chooses to use Vasuki as more of a combo builder in his games, because with access to Deathblow, I would think it would actually be the most effective DPS option he has right now.
Yeah, and we see Grulu trying to get the DPS off, and not that great, but Vazuki brings a very important passive to the table, which applies wound stacks whenever the enemy team takes debuff damage. And with Roland healing up so much, those wound stacks, which reduce healing, will be very helpful.
Yeah, it goes a long way to taking out bulky things like Thornish and Vodnoy when you can stop their healing.
Yeah, and it looks like we will see Vodnoy finally fall here. Probably weak enough that it'll fall to the debuffs, but gets one last block off. Tanks for Thornish. And we see a big potion onto the Nightwing, not healing nearly as much as it usually does. Nightwing is still weak. And
Yeah,
those burn
Nightwing
stacks.
doesn't have a lot of hit points, so that's really not a very effective healing there.
Yeah, and with those burn stacks, it's at risk of dying soon. So another big potion forced to be used onto the Nightwing in order to try and keep it alive. Thankfully, it does cleanse some of those burn stacks. Let's see how much this Nightwing can make happen here. Goes for the beating. Not a lot of damage, but does get some nice bleed stacks. The bleed is really starting to add up here.
Yeah, that Grulu is looking pretty rough right now.
Yeah, Grummy doing what he can with Age of Purity. Good combo being built. Let's see what Vazuki can do here. Goes for the tackle. Gets quite a bit of debuffs again, but are they just barely not enough to take out
I think there was
Nightwing?
2 misses in there, so that was enough to make the difference.
Seems like it. And now we see a stack of Infinity onto Rolangizmo, and that is easily going to allow Nightwing to take out the Grulu. And that also means that the splatter happens before the start of Sphinx's turn when the debuff damage is applied. So that means more damage to Grummy and Vizuki. Grummy building up some combo here. Looks like he's going to use Vizuki for the same. Tackle getting blocked by Thornish. And let's see what this Cat Zerker can do.
Yeah,
Goes
a
for the
few
Fire
fish
Claw.
scale procs there.
Good crit there onto Nightwing. Able to apply some bleed, but still not enough to kill. Once again, those wound stacks are really coming in handy, forcing Roland to use 2 big potions onto Nightwing and still not healing it back up to full health. Unfortunately, Nightwing with 2 stacks of Infinity one-shots Cat Zerker, and the bleed takes down Vizuki. And Sphinx forfeits. I guess he doesn't have Revive on his Griffin. So Sphinx gets first turn again. That's good. We do see same teams from both players. Sphinx considering his lead here. Do you think we'll see him lead with the same?
He's really thinking it here.
Does
So
choose to lead with the Vizuki. Probably in order to get those stacks of wound on as early as possible. And I like that choice. Those wound stacks really helped him get through Rolangizmo's healing. Maybe if he had them
getting him out earlier could make the difference.
Yeah, unfortunately, not getting lucky there. Not a ton of stacks, but we see the full potential onto Aqualit. We'll probably see, yep, there's the full protect. And let's see how much damage this Aqualit can do. Aqua Blast, super effective against Vizuki. Takes it out in one hit. That, I suppose, is the problem with leading with it. Now goes into Lion. That at least gives him a free turn to attack where he has all of his monster's actions. So, big combo being built, and let's see if this Lion can finish something off. Looking at the damage previews, doesn't seem like it. Maybe if he gets a lot of crits onto Vodanoy, he could take it out. That's what he's going for. But Fish, getting the taunt, blocking it. Taking reasonable damage from those burns, but he can just heal it up now.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty rough matchup for Sphinx here.
Yeah.
Not able to get any early knockouts, which he really wants to do with this team.
Yeah, and here he really does not have the time to break through all these monsters' defenses while he's continuously taking more and more and more bleed stacks. So,
yeah, the longer the game goes, the more it favors Rolangizmo.
Absolutely. And we see Aqua Blast coming through. Bleed not enough to take out Lion here, which is good. But we see his entire team has bleed stacks because they're all attacking. That's one of the problems with the regeneration team, is Gremmy and Grulu need to attack in order to build their combo and apply their debuffs. And against this team, you don't want your monsters attacking unless they're going to kill.
Yeah, it really makes Fish Scales just do so much more damage than it would normally if you only had one monster attacking.
Exactly. And also because the monsters are attacking, yes, they have the regeneration, which is giving them great healing, but that's all they get. They get the regeneration, and all of their actions are spent doing attacks. Sphinx doesn't really have a good choice for taking a turn off to heal his monsters.
So yeah, one thing that I thought he could have done is changed his Griffonics into more of a healer. I mean, it's not maybe ideal because he wants to use it as DPS, but it does have access to Purify. But I don't think he's gone with that option.
But yeah, it does seem like he's using Griffonics for damage. Considering his turn with Lion here, seems like Lion has 3 stacks of Chill, and that's actually pressuring him quite a bit. Not enough mana to use the highest level of all of his moves. And that's going to slow him down, and you do not want to be slowed down against Rolangizmo's team.
Yeah, I mean, luckily he is recovering some mana from the burns that are on the opposing team, but it's not really enough.
Yeah, eventually he'll get to the point where the age stacks reduce his mana cost, but He's going to need time, and he doesn't have it right now. Another Aqua Blast. Bleed stat starting to cut through the Lion's shield, and he's looking pretty weak now. Grummy and Grulu desperately trying to build combo and damage the enemy team. It does look like he has a kill on Aquat here with Shred, so he does go for it. Doesn't kill outright, but the bleed is able to take out both Aquat and Vodanoid. That's definitely a good start.
Yep.
Rolangizmo brings in Mulbear Nightwing. So we do see the Protect. Now that Nightwing's here, Lion, even though he has 4 stacks of Age, which will help make him tanky, is very much in danger because Nightwing has great wind damage and Lion is weak to it. So here we see the Typhoon cut, able to bring Lion pretty low, and the bleed takes it out.
Yeah.
Goes into Cat Zerker. We do see Acid Rain, able to get rid of all of Mulbear's buffs and apply some debuffs to him. Solar Burst, great combo. Let's see how much damage this Cat Zerker can do. Looking at the previews, it doesn't look great. Forced to go for the Long Slash because he didn't break the Protect. And it does okay.
Yeah, you can see the dodge numbers on the Nightwing, nearly 50%. It can be a very difficult monster to remove from the field.
Absolutely.
And it puts on a lot of offensive pressure at the same time.
Yeah. Now, the trade-off for that is if it does get hit, it's probably going to die. It's very, very frail. But it also has, with all the help from these protects and the healing, Rolangizmo has been able to keep it alive, and it brought Cat Zerker almost down with a lot of bleed stacks. So, Sphinx, once again, trying to build up some combo. He did break the Protect onto Nightwing this time, but Cat Zerker Ultimate unfortunately resisted by Nightwing. Thornish is weak to it, and he does take out the Thornish, so that's a really good start, able to stop those annoying Protects. Now Rolangizmo brings in Sutsune.
Yeah, having a strong wind attack like Typhoon Cut is one of the few ways to actually cut through a Thornish.
Yeah. And Cat Zerker, it's uncommon because of how frail it is. It certainly doesn't hurt for damage.
Yeah, it's very similar to Nightwing in that way. They're both high risk, high reward monsters.
Absolutely. And we see big hit from Nightwing. Regeneration, not enough to save Cat Zerker. So Sphinx is down to his last, which is Griffinix. But it's here at full health, and it might be able to make something happen here. We see Acid Rain.
If he can take out Sutsune, that would be very, very good for him.
Absolutely, and it seems like Sphinx knows it. Going for the Acid Rain, trying to apply debuffs to it, going for the trying to get as much combo, and we do see going for the Spark Shower, almost takes out Nightwing. Thankfully, ignores Nightwing's great dodge, but not able to finish it off.
Yeah, even if he gets the knockout there, I don't think that's the right play, because the Sutsune can just revive it right away.
Yeah, though it would at least get rid of those Infinity stacks, leaving Nightwing with none.
That is true, yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't able to get that either. Those 3 stacks of Barrier onto Nightwing, reducing the damage it took, enough to tank a Griffinix's Spark Shower. That's very impressive. So, Roland thinking out his play here. Probably going to see, we see an Antidote coming out from Mulbear, trying to remove some of those debuffs. And then the Nightwing goes for Typhoon Cut, gets quite a bit of damage onto Grulu, and the bleed knocks it out. That's really great news for Rolangizmo.
Yeah, and with Grummy looking very, very low in health, this is not looking good for Sphinx.
Yeah. So once again goes for the Acid Rain. Griffinix does have Gift of Life, so he could use that to bring Grulu back. But he might want to save that for... Nope, never mind. We do see him firing it off here.
Yeah, and it does come in with no bleed stacks on it, which could be very important here.
That is absolutely true. So, once again, Not able to get a ton of damage off, but quite a few debuff stacks still. Susune is able to cleanse a few, but again, the chill stack, cutting into its mana. Susune doesn't have the greatest mana, and Mass Restore is a very expensive move. So
Yeah.
we see Mulbear going for the ultimate, just trying to get up some combo. Let's see how much this Nightwing can do. Goes for the beating, able to take down Garulu, and oh, that's not great. The bleed
And with
stats,
no
because,
normal revive,
yeah,
I think this is over.
and Sphinx forfeits.